Hey guys, I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew review, where today I'm going to be taking a look at a figure that I ordered from eBay, using some of my Christmas money. I also ordered like another 4 figures. 2 of those are already up on my channel, the Spider-Man 2 figure and that Spider-Man 3 figure that I reviewed, and there's 3 more figures left for me to review, and the other one of those is the Spider-Man Classics Spider-Man. So I guess the name is just Spider-Man. I don't think it has like a subtitle, I think it's just just Spider-Man Classic Spider-Man. And there's a couple issues with this. Like, some of the joints are really loose on this. The waist is really loose. Spin that around. The arms are a little bit loose too, and then that leg's pretty loose as well. It's not loose going forward and back though, so I'm probably gonna have to use some glue dots to fix that. Tighten up those joints there. But the problem is I'm out of glue dots. So I'm going to have to wait until the next time I go to Walmart to buy more. But, yeah. So, yeah, I'm probably going to have to go, the next time I go to Walmart, I'm probably going to have to pick up some glue dots to do some adjustments to this, tighten up some joints here and there. But, yeah, I think it looks really good. It kind of has, like, a McFarlane-style face and stuff. Spider on the back. It looks very much like your classic-style Spider-Man. If we bring out the McFarlane Spider-Man, you can see the faces are kind of similar there. Not really, but, this is definitely much classic Spider-Man. I totally know why they call this Spider-Man Classics line. Look here on the bottom of the foot. So this foot is a 2001 Marvel Entertainment made in China, and the other foot doesn't say anything. I don't know why the early figures by Toybiz, they didn't say Toybiz, they just said Marvel Entertainment. Sorry, I keep yawning there. I woke up a little bit ago. But they keep saying, like the early figures, they only said Marvel Entertainment. They didn't say Toybiz on them, which I think that's a little bit funny there. And there's a spider. There is also some paint wearing off on this, which, some of the pictures I kind of noticed some paint is wore off here and there. Like, or maybe it's not worn off. Maybe they're not painted in black. Some spots they have some kind of black in them, like a black wash over it, but then other spots looks kind of empty. Maybe it looks like that, or maybe there's some paint wearing off. Either way, this figure was only like, I think it was like, if I remember correctly, it was like only like $12. So having a little bit of paint wear, I feel like for $12, it's kind of a good deal. But yeah, so just really like the way this looks. Like, obviously, yeah, it doesn't have really much articulation. It only has, like, I think they say 30 points on the packaging. It's like 30 points. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, it only has 30 points of articulation, which, who cares? To me, that's still amazing. Also, they consider, like, this joint, they consider that 1 point of articulation. Then they consider this 1 point of articulation as well. I would think this would be technically 2 points, because you can move it here, it goes out, and it does that. I would think 1 point of articulation would mean that it either does just that, or does just this, which, I don't know why, because technically, if you include those, it would technically have 34 points, but I don't know why they don't include those. I guess because it's like a point of articulation. To me, that's just like joints. I guess you would have like 34 joints, but like there's only 30 spots where you can move them, Either way, that's kind of a little bit of an aside there. But I still think this looks like a very good figure. This being like an early Toybiz figure, it does feel a little bit cheaper compared to like the later figures. Like, the quality of the figure, it doesn't feel bad. It just feels, it doesn't have the same, like a good, I don't know, something about it just feels a little cheaper. Like if you have any of the original Spider-Man Classics figures, like the 2001 era figures, you can tell the plastic isn't as good as the other ones. Like, if we take my favorite Spider-Man, the one, the blah 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 one, the one we stand them next to each other. This guy doesn't really stand up anymore, but that's close enough. This one's quite a bit taller, and feeling the plastic on this guy feels a lot like, it's really hard to describe. Like, if holding these, this one feels heavier, but that's because he has magnets and stuff. But, like, holding these two, like, something about it just, I don't know, they just feel, this one feels a lot lighter, and the plastic, like, comparing these two legs, the plastic, this is very, very smooth, very nice and shiny, really, really good feeling. This one feels like that too, but except it's, all the paint's wore off. But, like, feeling it, something about it, this one feels like the plastic is higher quality than this one. This one only being 2000, from 2002, this guy being 2001. You can see how Toybiz massively improved within the first year. Within the first year, after the first year of their figures, Toybiz really stepped up the game. The plastic was so much better. I think because they were still using the same plastic as the like from the 90s figures, but the 90s figures didn't have really any articulation. But I digress. Let's take a look at this figure. The texturing on this guy is still pretty wonderful. I think the paint is missing in spots. Like, you can see some of the light red and some of the wash over top. But for the most part, it looks like the paint is gone from the red. You can see, if you bend the joint, you can see a little bit of, it looks like a little purpley there. Some of the red and blue is mixed. Focus on that. Come on, camera. Whatever, camera. Sorry, guys, the camera's being a punk. See, there's like a bit of purple there. See the fingers there, too. One thing I like that they do with these, come on, focus. Why is it not focusing anymore? It focuses on my fingers, but not on the figure. I like that they make the web shooting hands, they make the web shooting fingers, they make them bent. So when you move them, they kind of go up, they're straight kind of like that. Or they're not straight, they're kind of curved, so you can put the web shooting hand and then move them back up. And of course, giving you articulation in all four fingers would be kind of, I don't even think that was like a question of being able to do that yet. I don't think they thought that was even a possibility. You also don't get any rotation here, so I feel like looking at the body of this, looking at this body, I feel like it looks more human compared to, like, trying to find a figure that's not on a display base. Oh, here's one. Like, compared to this guy, compared to the Cyber Spider-Man, which was released, I think, 2004 or something, 2005 maybe. Comparing these two, you can see how this one, well, obviously this doesn't really look human because the armor, but just looking at the way the body looks, this guy having the balls for the joints here, like having those balls for it, and this guy not. This guy's like a more human kind of looking body, but then, you sacrifice some kind of posability for it. Which, that brings me to a gripe, or, no, I'm actually going to save that for a separate video. But just, the design on the face is really, really cool looking. I think that looks really good. Looks just like the McFarlane Spider-Man. The design for it, that's really good looking. Everything for it. This waist is really, really loose. So is this one leg there. But I think this is still a great looking figure. There's not really much to say. It's just, a very, very basic, very vanilla looking Spider-Man. But, to me, even though I know getting this figure, there's not much to this figure, but excuse me, keep yawning there. There isn't much to this figure, but I mean, I didn't get this, for like some crazy feature design or something, like if you get like the McFarlane Spider-Man, you're getting that figure because how sick the figure looks. To me, this just looks like, your typical average ordinary Spider-Man. Like, when most people think of Spider-Man, they probably picture like people think of comic book Spider-Man, this is probably what comes to mind, this kind of design, like the classic, like the popular kind of looking Spider-Man design, a little bit like McFarlane style, except not. Camera, what are you doing now? Freaking camera. But yeah, just very basic looking Spider-Man. I don't mean that in a bad way, just like looks very, very simple, very like basic Spider-Man. You can really tell Toybiz was like testing the water. And back when these figures came out, this was like a revolution, having the Spider-Man figure that you can do all sorts of crazy posability and like a bunch of crazy articulations. Very bad what I'm doing right now, but like, compare that to the ones in the 90s. The ones in the 90s, you could pretty much only do that. that, and that. That's pretty much all you could do with the 90s figures. Sometimes you'd be able to move the joints in and out, but you would have huge ball joints up here. You would even see like the screw when they put them in. Like that, this was like a huge improvement. This was back in the day when a superposable figure was a gimmick. So that shows you how they came a long way. That eventually being superposable, that was just like that was an expectation. Instead of here was like you get like a Spider-Man that would like shoot a web or something. That would be the gimmick. And so all the toys back then had gimmicks. And one would be like, for these figures it'd be like the figure features 30 points of articulation. The only thing buying this used is that I obviously didn't get the packaging, the comic book, or the what's it called? Can't remember the name. You also don't get the display base buying the figure. When I got the figure, it's just like a circular display base that looked like Spider-Man's head, and it had like a newspaper on it or like some kind of thing on it. Very simple display base. The display bases weren't like super crazy advanced like they were with like the Battle Ravage or the Black Suit, but still very I love this figure. I'm really glad I have it. Just loose joints I'm gonna be able to fix. That's not a big deal. But yeah, let's go over articulation. So the head has a kind of a ball joint which can look up a little bit, can't look really down much. You could rotate the head. You could rotate the head at the neck joint and then at the head, but it's kind of stiff. Pretty good ball joint here in the torso. Can't really go back much. Can go forward good, and can kind of tilt left and right a bit. There's rotation here in the waist, which he definitely has rotation in the waist. The arms don't go up all the way. They go up a little less than 90 degrees. They rotate all the way around. Double bend in the knee, or double bend in the elbow, which you don't see the pegs for the joints there. Rotation here in the start of the glove, a hinge in the wrist, and you can do the web shooting hand. Also, this shows you Toybiz craziness. You can actually see the web shooter right there. That's really, really cool. The legs kick up all the way. They don't really go back much. He can do the splits. He has a hard time doing the splits because that leg's kind of wiggly. The legs rotate here at the upper thigh, double bend in the knee, which, again, you can't see the joints for here, which I think that's kind of cool. But I think that was too weak for the plastic so they could break easy, maybe. Rotation here at the start of the boot. The foot, or the ankle goes forward and back, and then the toe bends a bit. So, yeah, so that's going to be all for this figure. I think this is still a very good-looking figure. Very great. This definitely revolutionized, is that the word? It definitely revolutionized the, figures, I think, like, across the board. I bet there were other companies that had, like, posable figures and stuff. But Toybiz was the one that knocked it out of the park. I feel like Toybiz was the one that started the whole revolution of, having superposable figures. Because now when it comes to Marvel Legends with Hasbro, all of them are superposable. You don't encounter any that have low posability, So to me, that's great. And so because of that, I know this figure isn't, it's not like, some crazy posable or some crazy abstract design or something unique. That's just crazy. This figure is still so good because what this did for, Marvel figures, action figures too. What it did for all of those figures. So for that, he doesn't need a why. Bye, guys.